You're listening to Nonprofits Today, the podcast that showcases the incredible impact nonprofits have in our ever-changing world. The podcast that gets the pulse on today's economic, social, political, and humanitarian climate straight from frontline leaders, innovative changemakers, and courageous risk takers in our communities and around the globe. And now, without further ado, here's your host, Sarah Boxx.
Hello, and welcome back to Nonprofits Today. I'm your host, Sarah Boxx, and today's episode is especially meaningful. It is our Season 1 finale. Now, over the past 17 episodes, we've heard from resilient nonprofit leaders across the country and actually around the world. They've shared not just their strategies and their hearts, but their stories of purpose, resilience, and transformation. So today I'm highlighting the big lessons from Season 1, and I'm going to share a few moments that stood out and preview where we're headed next. So let's dive in. The first theme that we're going to start with, the first theme, is purpose-driven leadership. Now, purpose was central in this season again and again. Leaders told us that their why fuels them when resources are scarce and challenges mount. It is what fuels their teams and their board members. A great example is episode 11 with Paula Schneider of the Komen Foundation. She shared how surviving cancer reshaped not just her personal outlook, but her entire approach to leading the foundation. Her story reminds us that purpose is not a slogan. It is the engine that carries us through change. She says life is not only about what you accomplish, but what you help others achieve along the way. Find some place to do good. And as a breast cancer survivor who lost her mom to the disease, she now leads Komen, the world's largest breast cancer organization, transforming it into a unified, patient-centered powerhouse. She's also an upcoming children's book author, which is very exciting. The second theme is transformation through challenge. Season 1 showed us how obstacles often spark transformation. In episode 10, Tim Curington of Prison Alliance describes stepping into the leadership during a time of major transformation for their organization and help scaling the organization globally. And he talks about how they had an interim director, then he had a board member who stepped in for a year and a half, him leaving, the interim person stayed, but Tim left, then came back when he was asked to, taking on a new role, and then how he scaled from years of doing the work one way into a global process that takes advantage of the obstacles that came up. It's just amazing how they have changed their way of working and now are reaching out into different parts of the world. And his lesson for us all is that challenges do not have to derail us. They can actually redefine us. The third theme is community and collaboration. Now, we know no nonprofit thrives alone. Collaboration and community are the threads that bind us, and they are recurring themes. An example is Bill Flanagan, who drew from decades of civic leadership to show how partnerships, especially public-private ones, build lasting community impact. His wisdom: long-term change happens when we work together. As the former Chief Corporate Relations Officer for the Allegheny Conference on Community Development, Bill had been a key factor in shaping regional growth through public-private partnerships. So in this episode, we delve into the art of strategic communication, empowering volunteer leadership, and the patient pursuit of long-term community objectives. Long-term. The wisdom nugget he shares is the most helpful trait from his reporting days that translated to nonprofit management and fundraising was listening. Simple, powerful, and impactful. The fourth theme that we touched on throughout the season was innovation and the courage to change. We did hear stories of courage, leaders willing to change direction when old approaches no longer served or the community changed. I think one of the most inspiring interviews I had was with Thana Hickman-Simmons of Viola's house. And she shared how she faced a 34% drop in giving Yet, at that time, she reimagined programs to serve even more young mothers. Innovation isn't easy, but as she demonstrated, courage can amplify impact. She says that passion alone is not enough. You need perseverance, adaptability, and a strong team to create lasting impact. Thana emphasizes the importance of strategic financial planning, board engagement, and adaptability for nonprofits to navigate challenging economic times. It was really an inspiring conversation, and she's done amazing work as a leader and pivoter. I'd say she's a great pivoter. Our fifth theme was faith, values, and inner compass. So several guests spoke openly about the deeper compass that guides their leadership. Two of those folks were in episode 8, and that was Yolanda Noli and Natasha Davis of Pure Cinema USA. They shared how their faith and values shaped their mission of blending media, ministry, and community service. Their story reminded us that authentic leadership often begins with inner alignment. And that's what started with them. They met each other remotely. One of them lives in the UK, the other here in the US. And over time, it was that inner alignment and being clear about their faith, their values, and how those connected in the service of others. Great episode. And then the last theme, theme 6, was lifting others. Now, by their nature, nonprofits are focused on helping or lifting others, making a change. But this theme was woven throughout season 1. It was lifting others through mentorship, through equity, or creating pathways for future leaders. This is a reminder that each of us has the power to make a difference. A great interview was with Alexis Kukos, episode 17, and she showed how simply showing up as a mentor can change the trajectory of a young person's life. She reminds us we don't have to have the answer, and her work with the Danbury Student and Business Connection is a living example of leadership that multiplies itself. At a time when technology and AI dominate how we communicate, Alexis instead champions something different, the transformative yet straightforward impact of showing up, listening, and offering authentic support. It's as simple as that. So as we wrap up season 1 and we look back, the theme is clear: leading with purpose and transforming through service. Our guests, all 17 of them, taught us that purpose grounds us, service transforms us, and courageous leadership has the power to ripple across communities and generations. So as we close season 1, I want to express my deepest gratitude to you, our listeners, for your unwavering support and for coming on this journey. And to our guests, your stories and honesty have been a gift. You know, I asked questions that sometimes leaders don't want to talk about, and each of you just shared your heart and shared your path. So looking ahead to season 2, we'll continue to explore the pulse of the nonprofit world, delving deeper into innovation and resilience and the changing landscape of the nonprofit world. So if you found value here, my request is that you share the podcast series with a friend or colleague. And if you haven't yet subscribed, now's the time. Season 2 is going to bring even more insight and inspiration, and I'm specifically asking you for feedback. Share your thoughts and suggestions for season 2. What do you want to learn about? Who would you like to hear from? Because once we hear from you, we'll go about shaping season 2. Until then, thank you each for the ways you lead, serve, and lift others. Remember, our mission here is to inspire and equip you for greater impact in the nonprofit world. I'm Sarah Boxx, and this has been Nonprofits Today.
You've been listening to Nonprofits Today with best-selling author, change agent, and strategic nonprofit coach, Sarah Boxx. You can grab the show notes and find out how to work with Sarah and the Sandbox team at sarahboxx.com. We'd love this podcast to reach as many people as possible, so be sure to rate, review, and share this podcast with someone you think would get value from this conversation. And be sure to tune in and power up with future episodes of Nonprofits Today.